Welcome to the Future of Teamwork podcast, where we explore cutting-edge strategies to keep teams human-centered, drive innovation, and empower you with the tools and insights needed to help your team excel and thrive in today's rapidly changing world. Your host is Dane Groeneveld, a seasoned expert with over 20 years of experience enhancing team dynamics and innovation. Today, Dane is joined by Brian Boyle, a visionary in training, design, and technology. Brian, the founder of CrossTrainer, has dedicated over 2 decades to pioneering engaging learning solutions across various industries. His recent work focuses on crafting mixed reality products that significantly deepen learning experiences. In this conversation, Dane and Brian will delve into how e-learning and mixed reality are not just reshaping individual learning paths, but are also revolutionizing team dynamics and collaboration. Listeners will gain insights into how these technologies can be applied to enhance team training, create memorable learning experiences, and foster a more connected and efficient workplace. So, teamwork makes the dream work, and we're here to inspire your next collaborative breakthrough. Gather your team or put on your headphones, and let's dive in together.
Welcome to the Future of Teamwork podcast. My name's Dane Groeneveld, CEO of the HUDDL3 Group, and today I'm joined by Brian Boyle. Brian is the founder at CrossTrainer, and today we're going to have a really cool conversation about e-learning and mixed reality, which Brian's been doing some great work in, from the very early days of these emerging technologies. So welcome to the show, Brian.
Thanks, Dane. Really excited to be here.
It's going to be fun. I must admit, I was sharing with you before the show that I've often looked at VR and AR and all of these emerging technologies and thought, won't it be cool when it works? But everything I'm learning from you is that it already works, and you've been doing this for a good time. So maybe you can share with our listeners kind of how you came to be involved in this field and what your story is before we dive into the teaming element.
Yeah, that sounds great. So I'm the founder of CrossTrainer. As you mentioned, we're a e-learning design and development shop out of Providence, Rhode Island, and we handle everything as it pertains to training, design, and development. And I look at mixed reality, augmented reality, and virtual reality as just another medium, another way to train people. So if we do other, entry-level solutions, everything from interactive PDF to responsive e-learning to traditional slide-based e-learning to gamification solutions and learning management system administration. But really, the augmented reality and the virtual reality, I look at that as, like I said, just another way to train people, and it's particularly very effective. So the first time I saw augmented reality was probably about maybe 2011, 2012. And I said, oh my God, this is going to change everything, and was immediately interested in it. My background is I was actually going way back. I was a print designer, and I was a print designer that just got busier and busier and broke off on my own and started to hire people. And early on, one of my clients said that they really liked working with me because I'm a business-minded designer. And that really stuck. And I kind of built my team with other business-minded designers, business-minded programmers. And we really are, in that way, we're always looking to create efficient solutions that work for the needs of our clients. We're not necessarily the ones trying to, get a design award, or add something to our portfolio. We don't really have design egos. We're about creating efficient things that work for our clients that are going to meet their needs. And as we got more into digital design, web design, one of the real leveling moments in the industry was when the iPad came out in 2011, and everything had to change. Flash was out the door, everything had to change. And then all of a sudden we had these mobile devices that were great for learning. And the next shakeup, I think, in the industry, the next big shakeup was that the coming of augmented reality and particularly augmented reality, but also, virtual reality getting mainstreamed, the devices becoming more accessible,
Yeah.
and the use of these mobile devices in these applications. And so I teamed up with a group of gaming developers. This was around 2018, and we launched a series of augmented reality and virtual reality applications. So this was still pretty early on in the adoption of these solutions for corporations to really adopt. So it was tough in those early years. We were trying to convince people of the value, of the solution, trying to explain the technology for one thing.
Yes.
What is augmented reality? What is virtual reality? Having those conversations and then trying to get it through IT, which is a whole other challenge at the time too. So, since then, and then you have COVID, where that was also difficult, particularly for VR, because no one wanted to touch somebody else's headset, and it's hard enough to get a headset on someone sometimes, but no one really wanted to share headsets at events or anything like that for good reason. And then the events really weren't even happening.
Yeah.
And what came out of that and where we are now is that the hardware has really caught up with the software and vice versa. And we have a lot of the solutions have gone more web-based and become a lot more accessible and easier to launch. We're launching content with QR codes and using devices that people already have.
Yes.
So it's really made it a lot easier for clients to adopt the technology. It's taken a while though. It was tough there for a couple of years. Unfortunately, we had our bread and butter of e-learning to kind of help with the loss leader of mixed reality in some of those early years. So,
that's neat.
Yeah,
I'm sure it wasn't as big a loss leader as the metaverse was for Facebook, though.
Oh yeah,
They went deep.
We dabbled a bit, but it's become kind of a bad word.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I won't see metaverse in meetings anymore.
No, it's really interesting, and AI is starting to fill the void, the room.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what I enjoyed pro-show. So thank you for that pre-show. Thank you for that introduction. I know pre-show we were talking about not being anti-AI, but being pro-human. So with this story, with the amount of time you've been in and around e-learning and seen these various kind of shifts, what is it about this augmented reality, mixed reality medium that actually creates more human connection or memorable experience for teams?
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways, and I don't want to dig into metaverse too much because there is some potential there, of course, with the ability to, meet in virtual spaces. And I kind of see AI, VR, mixed in XR, augmented reality, everything kind of coming together into one really awesome solution in the near future.
Yeah.
As AI starts to make its way into VR and AR solutions as well, it's all going to kind of work together. But what we see with these solutions is we're creating experiences. It's really memorable experiences. They're experiences that people like to share and show other people. The data that we're getting back from the engagement, levels and with using these solutions, the percentages are just through the roof. You send someone a QR code that launches a augmented reality hologram, and you're seeing that everyone that you send it to is actually viewing it. It's cutting through the noise, and it's being shared. They're not just viewing it once; they're showing their coworkers, they're showing other people, they're sharing it, so that's really exciting. We have an augmented reality scavenger hunt game called Jewel Heist. that we've done at a lot of like national sales meetings and things like that. And it's a team game, and it allows teams in different locations, even like it could be regional teams, to all play against each other in a virtual augmented reality scavenger hunt that's totally portable. It can go be placed in different locations. It's not location specific because it's got augmented reality content. And it's all rolling up to a leaderboard, and they're competing against each other. They're having fun. They're doing augmented reality selfies and posting it to a feed at the end. It's hilarious. People running, laughing,
Living, being human.
Yeah, exactly. Something about that energy that it can create where, compared to, what might otherwise be kind of a, kind of bland event, training event, a workshop. We're getting people up and out of their seats, having fun, talking, working together to solve these like puzzles and things that are, it's exciting. So we see, more of that. We want to do more of that, and really tap into that energy, that people are experiencing when they're using and enjoying using these solutions. The key is making it easy. Everything's got to be, no apps.
Yeah.
Like it's, the apps can be a big hurdle for people. They just don't want to download them. So all this stuff has to be, easy to access, web-based, no apps. And then on the other side, the VR side, I don't know if this would really be about teams.
Let's come back to VR in a minute then, Brian, because I've got a couple of questions on that AR piece that you described. So I love the way you described activities that create people's kind of fun and energy and laughing. And so it doesn't sound like it's necessarily like the traditional e-learning, like this is how you install this component. It sounds like it's more like learning each other, learning to be a team, learning to appreciate the skills and talents of your colleagues.
Yeah. It could be holograms that speak to you, and you have, objection handling style conversations with them. It can be quiz questions that you're answering, and then you're getting some sort of a virtual reward from that, or unlocking a virtual lock and moving on to the next one. And
Cool.
there's it's intended for collaboration and also competition, as well, which, depending on who the audience is, a lot of times it might be for, like a national sales team or something like that.
Yeah.
So it really can tap into that competitive, fun side, that they all have. So
That's very cool for a sales team too. One of the things that sparks in my mind is we had Michael McCarroll on recently. He's started a business called Teamradery. So they create these simulated experiences. I wouldn't necessarily say they're AR, VR, but they're a simulated workshop. And what they find is they take people away from their day jobs. They mix them up, and they'll solve a problem together. Maybe it's a NASCAR pit crew trying to optimize for getting a car in and out, right? And what he described from the science that's behind their platform is that it creates this epiphany effect where a team that grows and learns something together have a greater appreciation for each other, a stronger bond for when they go back to the day-to-day work. And then the next time a problem runs up, they're like, hey, Brian, and you and I have already got this shared experience and this bond. So it's easier for us to just get straight to the brass tacks of, hey, I see this problem. How do you think you and I can deal with it? So it's almost like it's increasing the capacity and the chemistry of the team.
Yeah. Whether there's AR involved or not, that's a great, experience for like a training event, a workshop, where I've seen those experiences before, even without, like I said, without using the technology, just kind of creating these simulated experiences for learners to collaborate and problem solve and bring that back with them, and it's great.
It's
Yeah,
super
for
cool.
sure.
No, it's super cool.
Yeah.
And then on the sales team, you're right about the competition, right? Sales teams loves to compete. That's why they're in sales often enough. But what I've seen a lot of in the last few years, particularly around all of the important focus on increasing inclusivity and engagement in teams, is that some organizations actually over-index towards serving the sales team at these big corporate events and kickoffs, and they're not doing enough to bring in the finance function, the help desk technical support function, the marketing function, the people who aren't the A-type, highly competitive salespeople.
Sure.
So is there anything that you're seeing emerging right now that helps with that inclusivity and engagement of teams?
Yeah.
Way?
I mean, so there's a lot of different ways to use the technology to support different roles, and although a lot of our work historically has been based on we've done a lot of work in sales training. There's other opportunities with, like, for example, skills training, not necessarily soft skills, but hard skills. And using, VR, for example, to help a team in, let's say, manufacturing, or let's say construction, or an engineering role, to help a team to better communicate a standard operating procedure, and to ensure that, like, for example, there's this rule that in manufacturing, for example, that 3 people should know every one task, and every one person should know 3 different tasks.
Oh, that's an interesting matrix then.
Yeah, like the 1-3-3-1 rule or something like that. And so using VR, we can help, because not everybody's a great trainer. We can capture their skills using 360 VR. We have a solution called OnePro that we capture with 360, the first person perspective of them actually doing the role. And then we can, infinitely scale that to help them bring on new team members that already know what their job is going to be before they ever set foot on the floor.
Love that.
You're taking the responsibility off of your senior team members, your management, that are a lot of times stuck training new hires, and you creating repeatable, immersive experiences that are, memorable too and effective, efficiently, in a way that wasn't really affordable before. Now we can do it in a way that is very efficient. So because the technology is kind of caught up.
So what does that look like, Brian? So if you've got a brilliant operator, and whether they're in a manufacturing environment or an engineering environment, they're doing their work, you're capturing how they do it.
Yeah.
How does the incoming trainee engage with that content?
Okay. So we do the capture. We don't try to learn their job for them. We're not going to go in there and, okay, show me this so that I can simulate this. We actually strap them with the equipment, the subject matter expert with the equipment, and we're capturing their entire environment as they do a task. Maybe it's a 5-minute task or a 10-minute task. We're bringing all that footage back. We're doing some post-production. We're using some AI voiceover to get the script. We kind of interview them on what they're doing. We get the script, and then we program it as interactive VR. And we even add distractors in it to try to make it a more engaging, interactive experience. Like, do you do this now, or do you do this? Okay, this happened. Now, do you do this or this? And so we're guiding. We then so we developed the entire VR program, and we deploy it as an e-learning program that can be tracked. So you send it out via your existing learning management system or through just a regular web link, really, or a QR code if you want. And that new hire or that person who's trying to upskill to learn a new skill,
Yes.
rather than trying to make time with that subject matter expert, that expert, to have them try to show them how to do the job, or try to learn that skill on their own, they're able to see it from that person's perspective. They're able to even complete an assessment, to ensure that they know how to do the job, to prove that they know how to do the job before they walk up to the workstation and are tasked with doing it. This is a big issue we've identified, over the past couple of years with manufacturing because of the brain drain, because of the retiring workforce. There's a lot of very, very skilled older people in this workforce in manufacturing engineering that are retiring and taking the skills with them. And it's a big problem. And so this is our answer to that.
That's brilliant. So if I'm hearing you right, I'm a young trainee, or maybe not a young trainee. I'm hired into a new role. I'm reskilling later in my career. And I come in and there's this leader in the business who's doing this great job. I interact with their content of how they do their job. Is the assessment more of a traditional sort of multiple choice assessment, or is it can it be hands-on? How does that play out?
Think of multiple choice, but in the 360 experience.
Whoa.
Like the choices are around the room. Okay, now do you pick this up and do this? Here's an instruction document. You can pop up some instructions on what the next step is if you want, or you move forward. It's kind of like branching.
So it is like a video game, like a role-playing game where you're
very gamified.
Yeah. Okay.
Very gamified. It's definitely intended for, that. But the beauty of it is that you don't need a VR headset to do it. It's web VR. So it works. Yep, it works on a desktop. It's a great experience on a tablet or a phone.
Yeah.
If you have a headset, fantastic. It's a really great experience because it's first person perspective. You're seeing their hands as your own, and you're watching them do these tasks, and then telling it what to do next. It almost tricks your brain. There's studies on this. It basically does trick your brain into thinking those are your hands.
Wow.
There's studies that show, like, if you actually show the hand get caught in a machine or something, the person would flinch, because it actually does.
I've heard that. I've actually heard that, and I've seen the same actually with amputees when they're having to do work, that they'll use a mirror. So if they've lost the right, exactly. So it's amazing what our brain will do. And I've seen some of the other tests when they take what looks like it's a hot spoon and they put it on someone's hand, and because someone thought it was hot, they react, but it was just a regular spoon.
Exactly. And because of all that, whatever's happening in your brain, that's causing it, also is triggering, the retention, it's making it memorable.
It's emotional. You're attached to it.
Yes, exactly. You're hearing, you're seeing, you're listening, and you're interacting, and it almost seems like you're feeling it too. So all those senses are being triggered, and it creates a really memorable experience. And the numbers are 4 times as effective as classroom training, in terms of retention. There's the data that's coming back on this stuff is, pretty impressive.
Yeah. That's very cool. I'm just writing that down. So diving into that, I've got a friend right now who's working on this hand tracing technology. So what you just explained to me is we, put all the tech on the great operator, and we learn how they do their work, and we make it accessible. We get people ready. That sounds awesome. That sounds like a lot of teams need it. The next iteration, and I wonder if you're already doing some of this work. My friend Ethan is if someone is actually in the field, and they put this headset on, and they've got an operator, maybe it's one of those Silver Tsunami members who's sitting in their, lounge room in the Dakotas. Now they've retired, but a few hours a day they get in and help. And the individuals there and the person back in the Dakotas is basically saying with their hands, here, go to this part of the equipment. And so that technician in the field can all of a sudden in real time be like, okay, I see the hands going, now my hands are going to go to that piece of the equipment and I'm going to open up that hatch or whatever it is.
Yeah. So the Microsoft had a kind of a similar, I believe they still do this with the HoloLens, where you're basically, you can kind of have almost like a live call with an expert through your augmented reality headset. This is for augmented reality headsets. And like you said, they're seeing what you're seeing. And I don't think they were doing the hand tracing thing, but it's almost, this is something that you can basically tap into expert help to help you help an expert see the problem through your own eyes and then kind of coach you through.
So even if it was a verbal coaching, they're seeing the problem that you're seeing at that same time.
Yeah. Like performance support tools are very, very hot with AR. What we're excited about is the ability to use AR on 3D objects to basically overlay instructional content onto a product or some other sort of equipment, and be able to do that easily through the use of web-based.
That's brilliant.
So that's kind of giving you that just-in-time performance support, overlay on top of equipment. It's almost like superpowering humans.
Yeah,
that's what I love. That's what I love about AR. Is that's the effect that it can have. It can give you, knowledge and power that you don't have any other way of getting it. It can give it to you in real time at the point of need. And I find that really exciting.
I find that exciting, and what that sort of invokes in me is so many organizations, and there's been studies going back into the 50s and 60s when we were still in mainframe computers. So many organizations have got into this bind where knowledge is power. So there are certain departments, certain leaders who have this knowledge, and they become bottlenecks. And let's be honest, it's in their best interest to protect their knowledge because that gives them job security and compensation benefits.
Right.
But it means that the rest of the team, rather than looking at, well, we have the knowledge, how do we want to apply it? How do we want to lean into each other's experiences and creativities as humans? We're all just lining up to go and get access to the knowledge. So it's not very efficient. Where to your point, if you can overlay the necessary knowledge at the time that you need it when you're in the right place, then you take humans out of what can be fairly inhuman work of just passing along information, and you let them just get onto the being human and doing the work.
Exactly. And the scalability of it, is exciting, the ability to empower people with that knowledge and make them feel empowered that they can, do anything.
Yeah.
Right. It's exciting. It kind of reminds me of like in the Matrix where they were like download, Kung Fu.
Oh, I want that. Give me that tool.
Download flying this helicopter program,
Make me a really good skier.
Yeah. It's like, that's kind of where we're headed, which is, I find, really exciting.
Something you said earlier, now that you've raised the Matrix, I'm going there. You said about the holograms and how they cut through the noise. They get a lot of attention. As soon as you said hologram, I went straight to Star Wars, and I'm seeing like C3PO just pop up.
It's pretty much like that, actually. Very similar. Yeah. So we have a solution called HUDDL3, which is a very easy, call to action, basically, where we use HUDDL trainers It could be a marketing tool, or it could be any sort of a call to action, lead gen, something to pull your audience in and cut through the noise and get their attention. It can be just a simple coaster on a desk, and be a poster on a wall, and just with a quick QR code launch, a hologram, an augmented reality hologram pops up. And everybody's used to scanning QR codes. And so we all did it in restaurants. So everybody knows what to do now when they see a QR code. So that's really helped. Because now, if you can not just take somebody out to a website, but, give them some really engaging content, augmented reality content off of that QR code anywhere, and also get some tracking information. We found, just as an example, this was pretty impressive example of using that. We wouldn't suggest that you would do an entire learning program with a hologram and augmented reality. How long can you possibly hold your phone there and watch this happen? So we use it as these, like an introduction, like an invite. And so there was a client that used it to introduce a larger learning program that was going to be over the next month or so. And normally, that learning program had several other components. It had we have these hit quizzes that pulse out over time, over email to keep people kind of learning up to the actual main event. And then we had, like, at the actual event, there were other games and gamification, all sorts of great things. But this invite went out first, and they mailed it to all 250 attendees. And we could see on the back end that, wow, almost all 250 of these people scanned this postcard. And not only once, but they were doing it multiple times. They were probably showing their family members, showing their kids, showing other people at work. And so we could see all that. So then the quizzes that followed, it was all cohesively branded. And so when the quizzes came through, it clicked. And they said, oh, I've got to do this quiz. This is important. They sent this hologram that was telling me that it was this entertaining hologram that told me it was important that my team was depending on me and I had to take these quizzes. They got 96% participation on the quizzes. I mean, they're blown away.
Compared to what, a traditional 40 to 60%?
Yeah. At most.
Yeah.
I mean, 25 to 50%, would be the norm. For email, because it's hard to cut through the noise with email.
Yeah.
You get an email all day and it can be overlooked. And
this was a physically mailed postcard the first time.
Physically mailed. Yep.
Wow.
Physically mailed postcard. And they all scanned it. And you could see the unique users. It was like 250. It was crazy. So it's and their participation through the whole event was just off the charts. So they were beyond happy. It's all about not just, you had mentioned, Dane, when we were talking in advance, and not just the wow factor of augmented reality or virtual reality. It's how do we apply it in a way that really adds value for the client. And that's where, we've been doing it long enough that we know how to actually use it where it really counts the most, where it really has the most impact and the most return on investment. That's what I've been really excited about lately, is seeing all these great things happen with clients who, adopt it.
That's super cool. And I'm going to dive back to the hologram one more time. Like, if I scan my QR code on this postcard, does the little image actually stand up off my phone, or what am I looking at?
So it's standing up off the postcard. So imagine the postcard. Yeah, you're looking at it.
You look through the camera of your phone when you QR code.
Yes, you're looking at your phone or your tablet like it's a portal almost, and you're looking through that, and you see in your own space this little hologram standing up off of this invite and talking to you. And doesn't matter which direction you scan it from, it's always going to face you. So it's really easy. It just launches. You click enable camera, and one click and you're in. And And then maybe at the end, there might be a link to click for more information. Maybe it's got some, maybe it links you to a website that has some lead gen, or maybe it links you to more information about the event that you're going to, whatever that, or a larger learning program, potentially. Or for marketing purposes, it could be anything. I mean, these could be on point of purchase displays. They could be on, anywhere.
So if I'm sitting at the beach and I've got your postcard and I pull out my phone and I QR code it, all of a sudden Princess Leia is standing on the beach.
Yes, help me. You're my only hope.
I can see why that's.
Obi-Wan.
I would totally show all my family and my neighbors. Yeah.
And the cool thing too is we're using these 3D animated characters, which we're not trying to green screen people. I mean, we can green screen people and use real people.
But
as
you've got your
holograms.
own cast of characters.
Yeah, our own cast of characters. We can do custom characters. We can make it look like someone, through AI tools. We can we add AI voiceover for efficiency, so that we don't have to go back to the studio if there's text edits. We can turn these really quick, like a week, 2 weeks max. So they're nice quick hits, nice foot in the door augmented reality projects for clients that aren't used to using augmented reality, or might be nervous about it, or think it might be too expensive or something. It's a great introduction to augmented reality that really does work. So
that's neat. Well, you've been very consistent in this theme around, learning is important, no matter what the format of learning. And what's really important is that you get the team to pay attention and to emotionally connect and to have a memorable moment. So I can totally see where the AR plays out, and even in that, whether it's the hologram or whether it's that immersive video of the person doing the role. You said you were going to start jumping into VR. So where does VR kind of take it to a different place, a different level?
Yeah, I touched on it a bit with the immersive, in the manufacturing applications, but there's a lot of really, really exciting things going on with VR as an empathy machine, for experience, to put someone in someone else's shoes, to try to communicate that emotion, that feeling of maybe, for example, in the experiences that we create, we've done patient experience using virtual reality. And basically with VR, we can put you in a headset and have it simulate, for example, a movement disease like Parkinson's or something. And you're looking at your hands, your own hands, and your virtual hands are moving in a different way that's out of your control. And you're basically embodying this patient, and it creates an amazing response. I've seen people cry, out of the headset crying, because it's really really emotional. We can put a mirror there, and you kind of look at yourself in the mirror and the way that your body is being affected by this disease, and it's really, really powerful stuff. So I think as a experiential tool for communicating things that are otherwise pretty much impossible to communicate, it's really, really powerful.
That's really neat. So the physical piece makes sense. I have heard people talk about a VR simulation in the past that, for example, I'm a white male. So if I'm in a boardroom conference setting, I don't know what the experience of a person of color or a disabled person or a woman in that boardroom might be if there are other people talking over or not giving credit for what they say. Is that something that you guys build too?
We haven't built one like that, but yes, I mean, that's totally within the realm of possibility. It requires, bringing in actors and doing a whole simulated actor with experience to create that, replicate that emotion. that feeling or that communication that they're having with other people. And we actually we've done VR therapy. The other way that it's used, we created a application for Penn State Health that's used to help with pediatric patients to reduce stress when they're having phlebotomy or some other stressful procedure done.
Yeah.
And basically, through VR, we're taking them someplace else.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so the emotion there where we're trying to reduce their stress level and trying to give them a better patient experience through VR.
So it's like the next step from like when you're lying in the dentist chair and they've got National Geographic on TV on the screen. You're actually out in the savannah with the animals.
Exactly. You're playing a game. You're being distracted. It's distraction therapy, really.
Yeah.
And also, very effective to help with particularly not just limited to pediatric patients either.
Yeah. That's really interesting. It makes me think of the silent disco. I don't know if you've done a silent disco before.
No.
It's brilliant. So everyone puts their headsets on and you're all in a physical space, dance floor, but there are 3 different channels. So I might have some like old school rock and roll going on. And then someone else has got some like, big band music, swing music. And then someone else has got more like hip hop, and all of these crowds of people are all dancing to different music because they can't hear necessarily what the other person's dancing to, and it removes inhibitions, and everyone's just having a blast because they're not like, oh, am I making the right move for this, part of the song? They're just like, everyone's having fun. Let's just dance, and it doesn't matter what you're listening to.
This is a real thing that happens.
It is a real thing, and so it makes me think, kind of as an extension of that. There must be ways that in work from a psychological safety standpoint, sometimes we all get really hung up on not putting our hand up and saying what we think or feel because we're like, oh, I'm in a room and I'm an introvert and I don't want to be seen to go against the boss or the expert in that space. There must be ways for all of this mixed reality, virtual reality to allow people to just come out and kind of be who they truly are in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, what I've heard there with using avatars even in like a metaverse type of experience, it helps people to let go of any inhibitions they have because they don't have to put themselves on a webcam. They don't, they can have, they can be more open and feel less, people who have issues with, insecurity around any of communication issues or, might be less likely to raise their hand and say something that in a metaverse style of meeting with avatars, they're more likely to feel more comfortable.
That's fascinating because also if you had the right ground rules with avatars and you all come in as different creatures, you don't know if you're talking to the CEO or the janitor.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah, I love that concept. Actually, that's more like an anonymous company meeting.
It's like mystery shopper on steroids. I like that.
That's fantastic.
That might be a project that we need to try because I run a lot of collaboration meetings in my teams, and I'll always worry as the leader that am I speaking too much or does my opinion carry too much weight, and I want to hear what everyone else is thinking. But even when you say, hey, you guys go first, you're in the room. Whereas if you just said, I'm going to invite you to a 7-person meeting and we're going to talk about this topic, and the rule is that you can't say who you are or what your job is. You've just got to talk about what information is presented and what your views are.
And I can't see why you wouldn't be able to do like voice modification too, so people wouldn't recognize your voice. It would all be real time. I love it.
All right, that's gonna be my takeaway pilot project to run with you, Brian.
Very cool. Very cool.
Well, we've already. Sorry, you go.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that the metaverse is still alive and kicking.
Good.
Regardless of what anybody has, any of the bad press. It is very powerful. It is real, and it's not going away. And Microsoft has a great solution right through Teams. Microsoft Teams that we're watching closely for create these immersive metaverse style meetings that can be very customized. So it's not, regardless of what anyone's heard about the metaverse, it's still there.
Totally. Well, I normally ask my guests, what's your hope for the future of teamwork? But you've just given me a new hope, which is it would be so cool where on any given day of business, I got invited into a 7 or a 9 person team meeting where none of us knew who it was on the other end of the avatar, and we were all talking about something. That would be just so refreshing.
I love it. I think that would really, refreshing is the right word. That would be, that's a great concept. Love it.
And what about you, Brian? If you had to pick one hope for what you're seeing emerging in teams and what you think will be great for teams in your field of expertise, what does that look like in 3-5 years' time?
Yeah, I guess just kind of touching back on that people power. I want to see people, I want to empower people. I want more teamwork through the use of technology, adoption of this great technology that brings people together. These are technologies. Mixed reality is great at bringing people together to collaborate and work together. And like I said, the hardware and the hardware's caught up. It's all there. It's all possible. And also, AI coming in and being integrated into these solutions as well. All of these things working to superpower people and teams and improve collaboration and learning.
That's cool. I think you just gave us the name of this show, which is Superpowering People and Teams Through Technology. That's very cool. Well, Brian, there's been a lot of great points, making it memorable, making it human, the emotional and physical attachment that can be created in learning by creating that immersive experience. I thought that was cool. I really like the performance support tool and this concept of, hey, not everyone's a great trainer. We can take the training work off you and still, share and activate all of your brilliant technical skills. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. And then this whole cutting through the noise, the hologram, the way to just capture people's attention and get them to share it, create that kind of bump up in attention is very powerful in a world where everyone's kind of overloaded. So I love that. And then finally, that empathy piece, whether it was through the avatars or whether it was putting the Parkinson's app on, I think we all know that teams need more empathy in every quadrant.
100%.
So lots of great work that you're doing. If any of our listeners, like me, got excited today from this conversation and want to go and do a project with you, how do they find you or the CrossTrainer team?
Yeah, you can find us at crosstrainerlearning.com. It's spelled just the way that it sounds, crosstrainerlearning.com. And reach out through the site and we'll get right back to you right away.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Well, I'm looking forward to staying connected, Brian, and thank you for all you've shared today.
Oh, thanks, Dane. It's been a real pleasure. I really appreciate having me on the show. I'm thrilled.
We'll do it again sometime once we've done a few pilots.
Love it. Sounds great.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Remember that by embracing vulnerability, trusting our intuition, and approaching challenges with compassion, we not only strengthen our teams, but also pave the way for a future where collaboration thrives. If you're hungry for more insights, strategies, and research on collaboration, head over to thefutureofteamwork.com. There, you can join our mailing list to stay updated with the latest episodes and get access to exclusive content tailored to make your team thrive. Together, we can build the future of teamwork. Until next time.